Hello and welcome back to NATO Plays Minecraft. So, I've made a couple of little changes to the tavern we've been working on. Let's bring up my head back up. And these are mostly to do with the snapshots that have come out. Now, you may see something immediately. Yes, as I said last episode, this game needs more doors. And suddenly, out of nowhere, came more doors. Now, this isn't a mod, this isn't something I've installed. This is vanilla, and they have introduced some new doors in the colour of all the different types of wood. Let's open up the menu. Doors. For now, I'm going to get rid of those. So you've seen the spruce door, and of course you've seen the old wooden door. Now we have a birch door, a jungle wood door, an cedar door, which I have not seen before, and a dark oak door. So the birch door is, well, it's birch coloured. It has this kind of nice little pattern here on the little window cut out bit, which kind of makes it look slightly oriental. Kind of looks like that's a piece of paper that's been inset. I mean, it looks more inset this way around. And this side, it looks like it's popping out a bit more. Maybe, I don't know. Then we have the jungle door, which is weird. I don't really like the jungle door. This whole kind of slat there and then this window here, it just kind of looks a bit weird. I'd seen it in the world like this, but I hadn't seen the little icon on the menu bar before, which kind of looks more like they kind of wanted to make that a circle, but oh well. We have the Acada. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we have that weird wood that you only find in weird new biomes. This door, which has a lot more slats. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool and nice. I'm not sure how much I'd actually use it, to be fair. I mean, I think if I was using it with that colour wood, I might use it. I don't think I'm ever going to use the jungle wood door unless I have no other choice. The birch door I probably will use on some things, like the orientally style things. And lastly, we have the dark oak door, which I really like. So this kind of looks like to me this is an internal door. This is an internal door to a very posh, kind of stately manor house type place. So this probably will get used at some point by me in this. I guess I'll call it a build. Not in this build, but in kind of the general whole map thing. It'll probably get used in something big and flashy and cool. So, let's clear out this. I've been playing lots of Space Engineers recently. What am I thinking of? Spruce. I think some spruce. Yeah, I've been playing lots of Space Engineers recently, so my ability to play this game is slightly hampered in the fact that my hands don't do what they're supposed to do, and I get slightly confused. Like I was trying to press G to bring up my menu and that my inventory, which is not the right button. Anyway, so yeah, I replaced these doors in front with the spruce doors, which I really like. In fact, I'm going to put them. That is something that is worth noting. If you're in creative, you can middle click to get a block. If you middle click one of these doors, you get a standard wooden door. That hasn't been changed yet, so door. Spruce door. Let's keep that in my inventory on my hotbar. So I also, when I added these doors, I did this in a video, but I kind of fluffed the whole talking thing, so I re-recorded it. So yeah, I added these windows, which are kind of weird because they're so close to the door, but it felt like the loss of vision from the little windows that you have in the standard oak doors. It felt very impenetrable, and I really didn't like it, so I decided to add these doors. Oh, on the inside, it's mostly the same as before. I've not really done anything here. But today, what I want to do is start work on the second floor, and in theory, third floor. What I might do is I might make this section only 2 floors, and then make this 3, or something like that. But I definitely want to start work on. I definitely want to give all of it the second floor or first floor, really, because there is a difference between how Americans enumerate their floors and how Europeans enumerate their floors. See, to me, this is the ground floor of a building, and then if the floor we're about to build is the first floor, and then it's second, third floor, blah 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 blah. If you're an American, it would seem this is the first floor, it being the first floor that you come into, and then you have the second floor, the third floor, the fifth floor, and they have no concept of a ground floor, which in some ways is more logical, but also just kind of leads to confusion. It's like the feet and inches argument. You know, when you launch spacecrafts and someone's built something in inches and feet and inches, and someone's built something in centimeters and millimeters, and yeah, in theory they'd line up, but actually they don't. I think that actually happened at some point. Anyway, I'm going to start constructing the yeah, okay, let's go with that. No. We're going to start constructing the top floor, the next floor, whichever floor number you want to call it. What I'm trying to do here is decide how many spaces I want between these kind of little support blocks. I think I want to have them at least 2 from the edge, which kind of lines that up to there, but doesn't line that up to the other window, which is kind of annoying. But it doesn't have to match. It doesn't actually have to match at all. So let's put that there. This is kind of a little bit ramshackle, but that kind of does actually go to the form of the building. Stop doing that. I said stop doing that. This snapshot is slightly buggy. This is actually not the most recent snapshot. This is the 14W32D snapshot, rather than the 14W20 something 33A, which is just come out. Whichever the most recent one is, we're after recording this. It's not the most recent snapshot because the most recent one has an error where any block that isn't like a full block, like a slab or a stairs or something like that, all the textures on them are completely skewed. They're kind of skewed to about, well, I'd show you, but I'd have to restart the game, and I kind of don't want to at this point. But they're very weird, and they look terrible, so I loaded it up, and then I decided that no, I didn't want this video to look terrible, so I decided to record with the previous snapshot. And I think that was probably the best idea. Probably the better idea of doing it with the bug and without the bug. So yeah, as I was saying, these kind of, yeah, these slabs. See, it's space engineers. My brain is just completely spaced. I keep thinking about like gravity generators and all that. But yeah, anyway. So these little spruce slabs act as kind of support beams for this spruce wood I'm about to lay down on top. Oops, that one needs to go. So it's very similar to the previous kind of form where these beams, these spruce plank, this spruce wood acts as kind of beaming to give a bit more of a sense of structure. Compared to just having straight wood out. Unlike the previous one where I had the beams of oak, the beams of actual wood kind of descending down to the ground and connecting to it. This is a slightly lighter form on the ground floor. It's technically what you'd call rusticated in the sense that, well, actually no, it's kind of the opposite of rustication, which is making the ground floor of a building look look a lot heavier. What? Oh, time set. Making the ground floor of a building look a lot heavier than it really is, and a lot more sturdy to give an impression of lightness as you go up and sort of ascending towards the clouds. This is kind of doing that with the use of materials, but in terms of structure it isn't. The material use here sort of says, well, you've got the strong stony nature of the bottom floor, and then the slightly more not ephemeral, but slightly softer side of the wood. And that's where Ganno juxtaposition comes in. So you have this kind of very heavy bottom floor, slightly lighter top floor, and then in theory your roof would be sort of very shallow and even lighter, so from the ground it would sort of almost look like it's not there. You'd get an impression of the roof rather than there actually being like huge overhangs, making it look really intimidating. I mean, sometimes you want that. A lot of Roman temples had kind of large arching roofs, partly to give them a sense of intimidation, make them look really big and important. But with a building like this, you don't really need to do that. I'm getting a little off topic here. And a little bit talking in my ass. Anyway, so I'm putting in these beams to kind of define how high I want the floor. I tend to do floors, or I tend to do rooms. Yeah, no, sorry. I tend to do floors being about 4 blocks high. But keep space for... I include space for floors and ceilings. So when I actually come to put in the next floor, if I do, I'll do that. So this will be kind of one floor, and then we'll have this sort of connecting blocks. And the next floor will come into here. So you'll have a floor here, and a floor here, and you'll have this kind of 3 blocks of height clearance. That tends to be what I do. I think it actually works quite well. In fact, I do actually want to do that. Because I'm mirroring... I hate this patch, this snapshot, and it's randomly deciding not to render certain things until like 10 minutes later. Anyway, continuing on, what I actually need to do is finish adding these pardon me. What I actually need to do is finish adding these beams going up before I add more cross beams. And it's kind of about, I mean, in theory, they should be on these little posts. But it's kind of about balancing the image of your building. So there is kind of no wrong... There is kind of no wrong answer. It's just making sure that it looks right. Especially with this kind of construction method where it's supposed to look a little bit ramshackle. It's supposed to look a little bit like it was built quite a while ago. Didn't really have a design as much as it kind of just got put up. And possibly added to over time and repaired and modified. So it's all about pretty much just making up as you go along. Now in theory what you do want to do, however, is make sure that in sections like this, where you have a direct opposite wall, you try to match that. This is so that when you put in your beams that go just directly across, they match up nicely, and you don't end up with horrible sections where nothing kind of looks right. You see that where I put in all of those blocks there and they took ages to come in. I'm going to put one there. You might just be able to, if I go below, you can see there just the outline. There is a block there, but the game doesn't render it until you place another. I think that's been fixed in the current snapshot that just got released that I was talking about earlier. But as I said, there are other problems with it, so I'm not using it yet. If I was just messing around, doing a bit of building on my own, I probably wouldn't bother. I think that error has got something to do with the new renderer. As I was saying last episode, there is a new rendering sort of subsection to do with culling bits that you can't see. So I think the game goes, oh, you can't see that bit you've just placed, and that's why it doesn't render. I might be wrong, but oh well. So after this stage, I will be adding in the walls. I'll probably just do a montage for that, or speed it up, because it's not exactly the most thrilling section. I'm mostly leaving this up so that you can see my kind of workflow as I go around adding these beams, because these beams are such a huge kind of part of the building. They're such definitive structures that it's kind of useful to see them go down, especially if you're trying to work out how to, I wouldn't say copy, but come up with a similar like design, a similar thought process. So I'm mostly just working out where things cross and adding a beam there. If in doubt, I'm looking to where these posts are here, like that. So where these little slabs are, to give a better idea of where the walls, where these beams should go, where in theory they would be supported if you had to support them in actual life. Where would you put the beams to support them? So there we go, coming together nicely. And I think that's more or less it. I might want to put a beam in here. This span is... yeah, come on. That span isn't too far. But I am very much going for the whole very, very tight, very close kind of walls. These beams being very close together. I may actually lighten a little bit of this. That's a little bit too heavy at that front bit there, where there's only 2 blocks. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see. That might change. The last 2 are these 2 long beams here. Oh, and this corner bit. It's 2 long beams. When I do the ground floor, so when I do this floor below me, so this so the actual flooring to this section rather than like the ground floor, which I've already done. So the first floor, I'll probably put some beams in. Probably not this many, but I'll probably put some in to make it look like it's tied together better. The problem is that you don't want to have this many in a way, because it gets confusing internally. Like I said in the last video with the whole grid pattern thing. So there we go, we have a series of beams crisscrossing to form a nice floor. One thing I am actually going to do is go through and make sure that at our corners we have the correct face pointing upwards. I'm only doing this really so that it becomes clear to me and to a certain extent you guys exactly where those beams are, where they're going down. So yeah, I will now go and fill in our birch wood kind of gribbly bits and think about exactly how I'm going to place these windows. Anyway, I will return shortly. Okay, so I'm back, and I'm also not happy. This does not look right to me. One of the big problems is that these windows that are only too wide, like I said, are throwing off the whole thing. They make it look really weird, and I don't quite know why. So I'm going to make some changes, but I'm going to make them next episode. So next episode we will look into this problem and see how to fix it. I suspect what's going to actually happen is that I'm going to move some of these beams out to create areas of 3 width and then 1 width rather than 2. It kind of looks almost too modern with kind of these sash windows and then like blocks with nothing in. It kind of needs to look a little bit more random than that, I guess. This side doesn't look too bad, but still not quite right. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.